The lonely birthday is not the one where nobody come. It is the one with the people veducto promic, hey and way while decimal else matter more. I was 25 years old when I sat alone at me our dining room table staring at a barricade that still held every candle baked was nobody left to help me blow them out. My name is Ethan Carter, and for most of my life I believe that if I stay patient, work hard, and love my family without keeping score, everything will eventually balance itself out. That evening the good me how wrong I had been. The party was supposed to begin at 6 o'clock. My parents had spent the afternoon decorating the backyard of our home at Columbus, Ohio. My mother had prepared my favorite barber recipe, my father had cafe arranged fooding table across the patio, and several relatives had already promised they will stop by after work. I even laughed when my best friend Ryan Foster tells me about finally reaching the age where people stop giving exciting birthday presents and started giving practical kitchen appliances. It felt ordinary in the best possible way, and after several stressful months at work, an ordinary evening should be family sounded perfect. Arun fighted me mother carried the burger into the kitchen, while my father checked the grill outside. I remember looking around the house and thinking how peaceful everything felt. Then my mother's phone rang. I watched her smile disappear and mocked instantly. "Claude, slow down," she said anxiously. "Tell me what happened." My father stepped inside the kitchen the moment he heard the change in her voice. I could hear my younger sister scream through the speaker even from across the room, but I could not understand her word. My mother played the song on speaker so my father could hear. Claude kept repeating that she needed him immediately, and that it was an emergency. My father's face became pale. "We are leaving right now," he said without hesitation. He grabbed his keys before anyone asked another question. My mother looked toward me with genuine concern, but only for a brief moment. "Ethan, sweetheart, we have a talk. We will sleep bed when we get back." I know that automatic because I had spent making everything else eminently more important than me our disappointment. "Of course," I answered quietly. "Go help Claude." Within 2 minutes they were gone. The house became unbelievably silent. The grill outside continued hitting. The birthday balloon dragged gently in the evening breeze through the open patio door. The cake remained perfectly untouched on the kitchen counter. One by one, relatives started calling to ask whether the party had been postponed. I repeat the same explanation every time. So many things happened with Claude. My parents had to leave her. Every person responded with sympathy, but after hanging up its gong, the silence inside the house made the ground heavy. Around 7 o'clock Ryan knocked on the front door carrying a neatly wrapped present and a large paper bag from my favorite baker. He immediately understood something was wrong because the driveway was empty except for me old pickup truck. "Where is everything?" he asked. Is like everything waiting to shout camera than he actually felt. Ryan looked around the decorated dining room, then at the untouched cake, and finally back at me. "Did anyone even ask if you wanted company?" he asked. I forced a smile. "Claude needed more." Ryan did not answer, but I could see he wanted to. Instead, he quietly lit the candle himself and slid the cake towards me across the table. "Smell so delicious," he said. We looked softly through the walkway, and together we sang a slight off-key version of Happy Birthday in a house that suddenly for much less than it had and how easily. Just as I leaned forward to blow out the candle, Ryan's phone buzzed. He glanced down at the screen, frowned, and read the message twice before looking slow back at me. "Ethan," he said carefully, "I think there is something about Claude again that you need to see." Ryan turned his phone toward me without saying another word. The screen showed a social media post that had been uploaded less than 15 minutes earlier. Claude was smiling in a crowded downtown restaurant surrounded by several foreign, colorful balloons hanging from the ceiling behind them, while every dry set overseas Minsha in celebrating. There was no ambulance, no hospital, no broken down cider, and certainly no emergency. The caption simply read, Best surprise ever. Eloget so hát Ian Mok cry, not BK anything about it was funny, but BK smelt him disappoint Become so overwhelmed that laughter is the only thing left. Ryan stay at the photograph in disbelief. This cannot be right, he had said quietly. Maybe it was taken early. He looked at the teammate time. It had been posted only minutes before me parents rushed out of the house. He carefully placed his phone back on the table and looked at the barricade whose candle were still burning. There was had already begun dripping down the side, creating small white pools across the frosting. You're not so distorted BK you think he shall be angry, he told Ryan kindly. So it told me BK he shall finally stop pretending this only happened once. He sat across from me without speaking. Ryan had known me familiar since elementary school. He had watched and now birthday, graduation, school concert, and holiday gathering to understand exactly what he meant. This was never really about turning 25. It was about a lifetime of learning that me plan cao always be interrupt if no one take attention. He remembered me at birthday party when me parents left hang Petro BK clock climb she suddenly fell sick after eating too much cake. She was perfecting fine by next morning. At 10 a.m. first class in the county Sans FR, booked a celebrating dinner and that early BK clo de Sachuan Ted to attend a French sleepover and insist Summer dry her across Tao immediately. Me high school graduating was certain BK clo and now she had missed an important bracelet and Evelyn spent 2 hours searching for something she later admit had been sitting in her bedroom all along. Every memory be is a semester and now to issue. Toge they format a pattern that become impossible to ignore. Ryan leaned back in his chair and quietly asked, did you ever tell your parents how much this hurt? He thought about that question for a long moment before answering. Once or twice. They always said Lo was different, more emotional, more sensitive, and net extra support. They promised things will become more balanced as we got older. It's my silly. Apparently grow older the knock and way mean grow wiser. The house remains silent except for the ticking kitchen clock. Outside, the decorating still moved gently in the evening breeze, waiting for good video while never up. Ryan reached across the table and finally blew out the barricade himself before the burner on the way down. Thin trail of smoke dry up what Buen was. You know this was not an emergency, he had said carefully. The real question is whether your parents knew. I con sai thạc possibly. Me parents had always believed law immediately. They rarely stopped to ask questions because the ignoring how well some make them bad parents. I never doubted that they loved me. What hurt was realizing that love with a friends can still leave a deep scar. Around 9 o'clock me mother finally called. I answered after the ring. Her voice sounded so. Ethan, sweetheart, we are the sorcery. Everything became so complicated. I glanced once more at Ryan's phone link beside her very present. Yes, Flo on right? I asked. There was a brief pause before me mother answered. Yes. She yes fine now. Pause for what told me everything in next now. She did not ask like what happened because there was nothing real to ask like. After we ended the call, Ryan quietly picked up the WhatsApp zip he had broke and handed it to me. I bought this because I wanted you to remember today, he had said. I looked around the empty house before accepting it. I think I will remember today for reason neither of us expect. Ryan nodded loud, then looked back at the glowing phone screen where close smiling photograph was still visible. Ethan, he had said in a voice he had never heard from him before, and if this Peter is only the bearing, I have a feeling your life is about to change in ways your family cannot even imagine. After Ryan left that evening, I carried the barricade into the kitchen and quietly placed it inside the refrigerator. So Mel throwing it away felt wrong. It was not the cake that had disappointed me. It was everything throughout it. I sat alone at the dining room table long after the house had become completely silent, replaying the evening over and over until he finally realized he was asking me the wrong question. Instead of wondering why Chloe had done what she did, he began wondering why he had accepted this pattern for so many years without ever changing me outline. The next morning my parents returned home looking exhausted. My mother immediately hugged me and apologized for missing my birthday dinner. My father promised they will make everything right for our weekend. He listened grateful because he knew they were sincere. They loved me in the way they understood love. Unfortunately, love without equal attention has now become something that left one child feeling seen and another feeling invisible. What exactly happened? He finally asked. My parents exchanged a quick glance before my mother answered. Chloe became overwhelmed and thought she was having a stroke crisis. By the time we reached everything had calmed down. He nodded loud. Did you ever ask why she was at a restaurant with her friend while the emergency was happening? The room became completely still. My father frowned in confusion. What restaurant? He reached for my phone and quickly opened the photograph Ryan had shown me the night before. Without saying another word, he handed it across the table. My parents looked at the screen together. They expressed interest and moved immediately. My mother stayed at the intimate time several times as hoping it will smell change. My father remained silent much longer than he had ever seen before. Finally he looked at me and quickly asked, "Where did you get this?" Ryan showed me after everything left, he answered calmly. No one raised their voice. No one asked. There was simply an uncomfortable silence filled with questions nobody wanted to ask. About and how later Chloe arrived at the house carrying shopping bag and smiling as though nothing unusual had happened. The moment she wandered into the kitchen she sensed something was different. My father placed the phone on the table in front of her without speaking. She looked at the photograph for only a second before her smile disappeared. It is not what it looked like, she sighed quickly. My mother asked only one question. Was there ever an emergency? Chloe hesitated long enough to answer without using any word. Finally she asked me she had exaggerated the situation because she felt involved after several friends unexpectedly canceled part of her evening plan. She wanted our parents with her because she did not want to spend the night alone. I never thought a dance party will actually be cancelled, as she whispered. I listened quietly from the other side of the kitchen. What surprised me most was not her explanation. It was how familiar it sounded. Every important moment in my life had some become second to whatever Chloe happened to be feeling at that moment. My parents apologized again and promised they will organize another birthday celebration the following weekend. I appreciated effort, but something inside me had already changed. A daily birthday party can never resist the moment that had been lost. Memory did not work that way. Later that afternoon Ryan stopped by to check on me. We sat on the back porch watching the sunset over the neighborhood children road visual down the street. What are you going to do now? He had asked. He looked across the backyard where the decorating from the night before had finally been taken down. For the first time in my life, he answered, I think I need to stop waiting for my family to choose me. Ryan nodded thoughtfully. And what happens after that? He smiled for the first time since my birthday. I have no idea. Just then my phone vibrated with an email notification from a company in Denver, Colorado. Mon I had applied for a management position with telling anyone because I never believed it will actually be selected. The subject line contained only 6 words, but they immediately changed everything. We are pleased to offer you. I read the email 3 times before I allowed myself to believe it was real. The management position in Denver came with more responsibility, better opportunity, and a chance to bearing against somehow no one knew me as on the productor and we understood or song productor never come like. Ryan looked over my shoulder and broke into a wide smile. I told you something was about to change, he had said. I smiled back, but the sentence I had never fully arrived. Instead, he felt calm. Proactive change the North Anway Arif with firework. Something is required in the form of a decision that finally gets you permission to become Somel new. The company wanted me answer within 72 hours. I accepted before the sun went down. Telling me parents provide far more difficult than accepting the offer itself. We gather around the same kitchen table we only a day earlier had admit he had never been a real MGG. Me motor listen silently while he asked like the opportunity waiting for me in Colorado. Me father asked thoughtful question about the company, the position, and the city. Color remind usually quick about the conversion. When he finished speaking, me motor force as my tax struggle to hide her son net. You cao and way look for work lo to home, is she to get gently. He shook me head. I have spent years staying close back I believe pros me while eventually greater relationism I wanted. I think it is time I lirang veducto I am ousted this house. No one asked back there was nothing to argue about. I was 30 days away from bearing a new chapter, and for the first time in my adult life, that chapter belonged entirely to me. During the follow week I packed me belonging one room at a time. Every box contains a reminder of the life I was living behind. Oh, basketball trophy. Colleague take bộ. Framed photograph from family vacation. Birthday card from grandparents video we no longer ali. I noticed something unexpected while sorting through those memories. None of the painful moments disappear. They simply become smaller when played beside everything else like hát given me. Ryan helped loud the moving truck early on a cùng Saturday morning. Before closing the final box, he handed me the birthday present he had never opened. You forgot this, he had said with a grin. He looked softly before carefully removing the wrapping paper. Inside was a little journal embossed with a simple compact on the cover. On the first page Ryan had written only one sentence. Never build your future by waiting for someone else's permission. I closed the journal without speaking back, some zip Arif exactly when they are the next most. My parents stood in the driveway as I prepared to leave. My mother who get me tightly and queerly applied once again for my birthday. This time I gently interrupt her. Please stop appearing for one day, I said. If we ever repay our relativism, it will happen because of what we choose from this day forward. She nodded with tears in her eyes, understand exactly what I mean. My father shook my hand before pulling me into a bright embrace. We are the fruit of you, he had said. I believed him in every word. Color up project lag. She looked uncomfortable, and most unsure whether she deserved to speak. I am sorry, she whispered. Not only for your birthday. For all the time I let everything become about me. I appreciate her honesty, but I also understood that forgiving grounds for consistent action rather than sincere conversion. Take care of mom and dad, I replied. And take care of yourself too. She nodded quietly. The drive from Ohio to Colorado took nearly 9 hours break across 2 days. Every mean play another little bit of distance between the life I had now and the life I hoped to build. As the Rocky Mountain upper on the horizon, I relaxed down the truck window and breathed in cool mountain air unlike anything back home. My apartment overlooked a quick neighborhood with one king trail, coffee shop, and small local buildings. Nobody knew anything about cancer birthday or family disappointment. They only knew the new operation manager arriving from Ohio. 6 months later my work had become everything I hoped it will be. I built friendship, I respect, and slowly stopped measuring my work by the attention I received from other people. One snowy evening after finishing work, I returned to my apartment and noticed a handwritten envelope resting beneath my door. There was no return address, but I recognized my most handwriting immediately. Across the front she had written only for what had made me stop before unlocking the door. Please let me slide. I stood in the hallway holding my most letter for several minutes before finally unlocking the apartment door. Snow contin falling out the window as it play me briefer on kitchen counter and Cafe open the envelope. Her handwriting phonetically written page, and before it reached the end of the first paragraph, it realized this was not another aptly written out of you. It was a confession written up among of quick repleting. She asked me that for years she and me father had convinced themselves they were protesting Claude Becquet to believe she was emotionally fragile. Every time Claude demanded immediate attention, they responded without stopping to consider what their decision might cost someone else. They never intended to hurt me, but Intentino did not erase consequence. Me mother wrote that after he moved to Colorado, the silence inside the family became impossible to ignore. Birthday dinner fell incomplete. Thanksgiving conversation ended early than they used to. Christmas morning no longer carried the same essence BK one chair archetype remind MTB joy, not be circumstance. She asked me that me absence was ever to notice something they had in God for you. It was never only about one cancer birthday. It was about counting moment when equally stepped as a BK someone else was and we consider greater priority. If I let the cafe and look out at the snow covered street below me apartment. For the first time since leaving Ohio, he felt smitten out and disappointed when he thought about home. He felt compassionate. That did not erase the past, but it softened the way he had carried with me. Over the following he continued building me life in Denver. Me work flourished, me circle of friends grew, and weekend became filled with hiking trail, neighbor coffee shop, and community events that reminded me like our bacon surprising rich when built in Tentina. He still spoke with Rang every week. He enjoyed hearing about Colorado and obtained joke that he sounded lighter every time we talked. One evening hello get and said, you know, the happy version of you did not appear after you moved. He appeared after you stopped waiting for someone else to decide your value. His words stayed with me long after we ended the conversation in New Hampshire. Around that same time my parents began calling more often, never to press me into coming home, only to ask how he was doing. The conversation were shorter than they had once been, is somehow far more honest. My father asked about work. My mother wanted to know which hiking trail he liked most. They listened more than they spoke, and he slowly they were trying to build a new relationship instead of pretending the old one had never been broken. Then one evening my phone rang unexpectedly. Claude's name appeared on the screen. We had exchanged only a handful of messages since he moved away, so he answered with curiosity. Her voice sounded different from the confident younger sister he remembered. He wanted to tell you something before mom and dad your exercise. He started meeting with a counselor a few months ago. He remained silent, allowing her to continue. He finally asked me that he spent a believing attention mean love. Every time someone else celebrates something important, he panicked because he thought he will not be enough left for me. She paused before speaking again. Nobody told me to feel that way on people, but he answered never questioned it. He just kept repeating everything to rerang thay livet around me emotion. He appreciated her honesty because he came without exercise. He cannot hear you back your 25th birthday, as she said quietly. He cannot hear you back any of the moment he took away. He only hope he can become someone Veduto never repeat those mistakes. After we ended the call, he sat quietly beside the apartment window watching the snowfall settle across the city. My phone vibrated once more with a new message from my mother. It contained a photograph of the old dining room back in Ohio. The same wooden tub was decorated with a simple birthday cake, 4 empty plates, and 110 plastic cards resting where he used to sit. Beneath the photograph she wrote only one sentence. We have been saving your pleasure for 9 years, and we hope someday you will decide whether you are ready to come home. For several days he kept looking at the photograph me mode had sent without knowing how to answer. The empty chair at the dining room table resisted mood more than an invitation. It resisted a question he had avoided for almost 9 years. Cao y return without return to the person he used to be. I carried that out with me through long walk after work beneath the snow coverage of Denver. Me new like hát become everything I once hoped for. I had Ian a promotino, build lasting friendship, and learn that piece of 10 grouse with epetino di sapepa. If every time I look at a mountain city, I really that healing did not and we mean creating distance forever. So my team it mean discovering and now strength of the plus with a hurt began. One Saturday morning Ryan collect, while he was making breakfast. As always, had Somel knew exactly what he had been thinking about. You have been staring at that Peter on week, have you not? He had asked with a loud. You know me too well, he admit. Ryan became quick before offering the same honest advice he had given me since we were teenagers. Do not go back BK to one Utah. Go back only if you believe you can walk her that random without expecting the past for change. His words stay with me long after the con ended. A few days later he reached a week of vacation from work. Instead of telling me parents immediately, he booked a flight first. He wanted the decision to belong completely to me. When he finally collected me motor, there was a long silence after he told her he was coming home for the weekend. Then he heard her quietly beginning to cry. Thank you, she whispered. That is only wanted to say. When me plane landed in Columbus, everything looked strangely familiar. The highway, the neighbor, even Tasman coffee shop near the airport where he was set to stop on my way to work on semester in time while he had quietly become so many different. My parents met me outside the terminal. My father who get me first, holding on a little longer than he ever had before. My mother smiled throughout the book never overwhelmed me with apology. Instead she simply said, it is good to see you. During the drive home we talked about ordinary things. The weather. My job. Ryan's latest fishing trip. It felt nature BK no one was trying to erase the Buenos. As we pulled into the driveway, he noticed something had changed. The old basketball hoop my father and he instant when he was was still standing. The maple tree with claw and he built a tower as children had grown taller. But the birthday decorating that once felt like my memory had been replaced by simple white light around the park and faithful near the entrance. My mother opened the front door and quietly invited me inside. The dining room looked almost exactly like the photograph she had sent. For pleasure settings throughout the wooden table. A small birthday cake racked in the center beside a single wrapped present. There were no balloons, no light decorating, no attempt to resist the celebrating we had lost. Instead everything felt sincere. Color stepped into the room a moment later. She looked older, calmer, and more confident than I remembered, but there was also a humility in her episode that had never existed before. She wanted toward me slowly before stopping a few feet away. I have practiced this conversation 100 times, she admits softly. None of those versions seem good and now anymore. I smiled gently, hoping to ease her nerves. Then maybe you're not the practice version. She nodded. The truth is simple. I spent years believing that if people celebrate someone else, there was black love left for me. I was wrong. I heard you BK never learned that someone else happy never take anything away from me out. The room became quick again. My parents listened without interrupting BK they understood this conversation belonged to us. Before anyone could say another word, my father reached into the cabin beside the dining room and covered the most something wrapped in blue cloth. He placed it gently on the table in front of me and said, yes, one more thing we have been saving for that moment, and I think today is finally that moment. My father slowly unfolded the blue cloth, revealing a small wooden music box I had not seen since I was a child. The polished wax surface showed ear of cafe user, and a tiny bracelet on the line had my name engraved beneath the date of my 5th birthday. I looked at my parents with quick confusion, while my father gently pushed the box toward me. We planned to do this to you on your 20th birthday, he had said. After everything happened, none of us felt we had even tried to open it with you. I ca pheo lai phét thế lai. The familiar melody immediatang filete dining room, bringing back memory I hát not tower bao in ear. Bennett the music mechanism red dorens of phone note tài toge with a face blue ribbon. Me motor smiley. Every birthday since you tung fai, your father and you wrote down one thing we admit about you. We planet to keep adding to them until your 20th birthday, when you will finally reset the anti-collection. I unti the ribbon with trembling hands and open the first note. It was written in me fast so unmissed handwriting. You and we make sure everyone else felt included. I phone another. Your kindes is stronger than your neck to be noted. Another Rick, we hope you never lost your gentle heart, even when life fell unfair. I continue reading silently while the room remains still. 20 years of man handwritten message with encounter, pride, and love red in me hands. Tia look me vision bki release something painful. Me parents had loved me deeply on along. They had simply felt to show that love in the moment when I needed it most. Me father clicked his sword before speaking again. Without reading test note well somebody you ever in we struggle to say out loud. We never imagine our decision will make those work harder for you to believe. I look at both of them and clearly note that. I believe them now, I answer honestly. Not because the past changed yet, but because you finally stop pretending it never happened. Color white packed away at the before reaching into her purse. Yes, something else, is she sighed softly. She played a full sheet of paper beside the movie box. Me counselor asked, me to white out the truth about that night with a marking exercise. She said accountability begin when the story stopped protesting the person video tells it. I phone the pay and read her work careful. She described feeling you looked at me but had become the center of attention. She asked me inventing the because she wanted our parents to restore her with her thing. She confessed that when she saw them leave me party, she understood immediately what will happen, but she still chose to remain silent because being the most important person in the room felt comforting at the time. The final sentences say with me the long read. I spent years asking everyone to notice me why come not refund to notice the pain I caused somewhere else. When I finished reading, I folded the letter careful and handed it back to her. Thank you for telling the truth, I sighed. That matter more than you probably really. She shook her head gently. It matter because I finally understand that trust cannot return until honesty are referred. We gather around the dining room table a few minutes later. Me motor quietly lit a single candle on the small bucket instead of 25. Why only one? I asked with a face smile. She looked at me with warm eyes. Because this is not about reply a birthday we lost. It is about celebrating the chance we still have today. I looked around the table at me parents and me sister. Nothing about the past had disappeared. The empty is still exist. The disappointment still belong to me story. If for the first time in nearly a decade, none of us were pretending those it had never happened. We were finally building something honest on top of them. As I prepared to blow out the candle, my phone vibrated with a message from Ryan. It contained only one sentence. Something the family you leave behind has to grow before it can welcome you home again. I smiled quietly before setting the phone beside the music box and relieving that great deep waiting for me that evening was not forgetting itself, but discovering that every person sitting around the table had finally become willing to eat it. The rest of the weekend passed far more quickly than I expected. There were no dramatic speeches, and no impossible promise that everything will suddenly return to the way it had once been. Instead, there were ordinary moments that so carry far more meaning than any grand apple could ever offer. Me motor insist on making breakfast the next morning, filling the kitchen with the familiar smell of pancakes and fresh coffee that had welcomed Carlton Saturday morning throughout me children. Me father stood out stitching the head while humming the same old country song he had always enjoyed. Color water the flow near the front pot before joining me motor in the kitchen without a thought of them rising the voice of complaint for attention. Watching those simple moments unfold, it release something important. Family do not have BK of one emotional conversion. They have BK people bearing making different joy during ordinary days. Later that afternoon me father suggest we take a walk through the neighbor. We phun lao the same sidwan we had the good law and may how try our busy decay early. The Mapatrice leaning the strict hat grow tailor, and money of the house had been renovated, yet the neighbor still carried the quick familiar of home. As we reached the small community park, me father stopped beside an old wooden bench and looked across the basketball field with local children were practicing with their parents. Especially believing that providing for me family means solving every problem as quickly as possible, they had at me. When the clock collect, it rested instead of thin. It công phúc ugen si with responsi. He took a slow break before continuing. The headache lesson is heavily rain is that protesting one you shall never come at the expense of another. Illistan Kaffer BK those work carried away of nearly a decade of reflecting. I cannot change the decision I made, I had said. But I hope the man standing beside to the nose I finally understand them. I know that gently. That understand matter more than you probably really. We sat together for several minutes, watching children look as they chase basketball across the field. Their parents encounter every player equally, celebrating each man's success without allowing one to overshadow another. It struck me how easily friends can become invisible when it is present, it unforget when it is missing. That evening our family gathered once more around the dining room table before it prepared to return to Colorado the following morning. This time there was no special occasion. No birthday cake. No ceremony. Just homemade dinner, relaxed conversation, and so many things that had been absent for years. Everything listened when someone else spoke. Colossus story about volunteering with young people through a local mentoring program, act like that helping old Hatchin get away she view attention and success. Me monologue as she described learning how to use video can look, so we can connect more often. Me father prudently and now that he has started writing weekly letter instead of waiting for holiday to tell people what they mean to him. When it was me turn to speak, it really nobody interrupt me. Nobody glanced toward close expecting another engagement. Nobody reached for a ringing phone. For the first time I can remember, me would occupy the room with a company against anyone else. Before dinner ended, me mother quietly handed me a small envelope. Inside was a photograph taken that afternoon while me father and I were sitting on the park bench. On the back she had written one simple sentence. Some moment bacon memory BK they are perfect. Other bacon price BK remain us we finally chose a different. Only the next morning I allowed me sweeter into the rental share while me family stood together on the front porch. Here we hook, smile, and promise to stay in touch, but none of us pretended distant while this paper over guy. Healthy relationism are built one conversation at a time, not one emotional weekend at a time. As I pulled away from the driveway, I looked once in the rearview mirror. My parents and Claude remained standing together, waving to me tung the corner. I smiled quietly before focusing on the road ahead. Han phây to the airport me phone chi met with a calendar reminder I had completely forgotten. In exactly 1 month I was about me TV birthday, and before I could dismiss the notification, a new message from me motor up beneath it. This year, we are not planning a party. We are planning to simply spend the day together if you choose to come. The decision will anyway be yours. 1 month later I boarded another flight to Ohio carrying nothing more than a small overgear bag and the wooden music box my parents had finally given me. As the plan crossed the cloud, I realized I no longer felt the never anticipated that had followed me home a few weeks early. This trip was different because it was no longer about confronting the past. It was about discovering whether the future we had begun building can continue one ordinary day at a time. Me 35 birthday Arik on a cung autumn morning flag with bright blue sky and crisp air. When I pulled into me parents' driveway, thì we nor balloon tai to my box, nor rouse up folding tab across the jack, and nor overseas celebrating whiting behind the front door. Instead, me motor greet me with a warm smile, me father welcome me with the same quick embrace given me at the airport, and Claude opened the door holding nothing except a tray of homemade cinnamon roll vacation bed they had and we been me favorite. The simplicity of the day felt strangely perfect. Nobody was trying to replay what had been lost. They were simply trying to honor the moment we actually had together. After breakfast, we spent the afternoon doing we had not done as a family in here. We visited a community park with me father had once to go to our Basaban. We stopped for coffee at a small cafe that had replaced our diner we used to visit up a little league game. Ryan joined West last afternoon, logging the moment he saw everyone sitting together around the same table. This is exactly how it shall have a look ago, he had said before catching himself. Me father smiled gently. Maybe he had replied. But if it had happened ago, we might never have understood why it mattered. That single sentence say with me for rest of the day. So many people only recognize the value of something after living without it long enough to feel the difference. As evening arrived, me mother play a small homemade bird cake on the dining room table. There was only one candle glowing clearly in the center. Everyone looked toward me, but nobody rushed the moment. Me father finally spoke. This is we are celebrating more than a birthday, he had said. We are celebrating that our family finally learned to listen before reading, to understand before assuming, and to appreciate every person sitting at this table. Claude looked at me with calm, sincere eyes. Thank you for giving us the chance to young our way back into your life, as she said softly. It's my birthday I finally understood something I had spent years searching for. Forgiving is never about pretending nothing happened. It is about refusing to let yesterday become the only chapter people are allowed to lie in forever. I closed my eyes for a brief moment before blowing out the candle. When everyone uploaded, I found myself logging in a way I had not logged with my family since childhood. It sounded nature again. Later that evening, before leaving for the airport, I played the music box on the living room shelf for a moment and looked around the house one last time. The walls had not changed. The furniture remained familiar. If everything felt different because the people inside had changed. Me mother who get me goopy and queerly said, we cannot promise to be perfect. I smiled warmly. Neither can we only have to keep choosing each other. As I dropped toward the airport beneath the fading sunset, I realized that the birthday I lost at 25 had shaped the man I became at 35. I never recovered the celebrating that was cancelled, but I gained something far more valuable. I learned that our work cannot depend on being chosen first by other people. It begins the moment we choose ourselves with kindness, build a life filled with people, and leave the door open for those who are willing to grow alongside us. Looking back now, I no longer remember that forgotten birthday as the Jamie family felt me. I remember it as the Jamie real unit toward confidence, peace, and genuine belonging clearly began.